Final sound check. How do I look? Ba 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 ba. Good.
Ba 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 ba.
Good. All right. We're rocking. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're live. This is Trucker with Carl and Grant, and we just came back from an awesome hunt at Tejon. Oh, that's gonna be too loud. Tejon Ranch up the Grapevine, just north of LA. Carl invited me out. I've been hunting for a while. He's been hunting for a while. He's been hunting there forever. And so let's just go into that history. Let's talk a little about you first. And tell me how you got started in hunting.
I started way back in the day with my dad hunting rifles. We went on safaris and traveled all over the place and did a lot of guided hunts. And then after a while hunting with him, I decided I was going to take a break and just the guided hunts and just what he was doing was just wasn't my forte. And down the road when I was probably about 15, 16, he took me up to Tejon Ranch and went up there and handed me a bow and went up into the hills and said, "Here, we'll pick you up at dark," and went up there and fell back in love with it.
Fell in love with the place. I can tell you love that fucking place.
It's my home away from home.
Yeah, you get very zen. I can tell. It's awesome. How about you, Grant? How'd you get into this shit?
Well, I was introduced to this style of hunting by Carl, but my history is I started shooting guns since I was 8 years old. My father is a huge gun advocate and has a lot of them, and through him, I just I've had a love for guns. Hunting, I haven't had a lot of experience in hunting. Most of my experience is shotgunning. So I hunted duck and geese and quail and
a lot of bird.
Yeah,
right on.
So, but big game, not so much. And with bow, very very little. So This is all new to me.
How'd you get into the bow side? Was that Carl?
Through Carl, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Right
yeah.
And how long you been shooting the bow now?
Just we went last year. It was my first time, and
right on.
And then this year continued it. So
nice. So let's get straight into who's blowing up. Who is it? Oh, shit. I'm gonna beat somebody's ass.
That's me.
Damn it, Grant.
These fucking new guys. Jesus Christ.
Grant.
Rookies. Okay.
And a little backstory so people know. Carl and Grant know each other through baseball. Their kids play together. These guys are fucking baseball retard nuts. So yeah, they love it.
The love, yeah.
They love it. And then Carl's my neighbor. So there you go. Yeah. Good things happen to good people every once in a while. And I just happen to move into into a good neighborhood with this guy who's fucking nuts like me, and it works out really good. So
Absolutely, man.
I love it.
Couldn't have clicked any better.
Right? It's awesome. So let's get into some details on this particular hunt we were just on. That was it's called a semi-guided group hunt. Why don't you explain that to everybody?
Semi-guided group hunt is a Tejon hunt that's offered to, God damn it, Grant, you son of a bitch.
It's just unbelievable.
It is
people are gonna flame you so goddamn bad.
Semi-guided hunt is a hunt that Tejon offers that is for hunters that want to go out on their own and hunt. And the advantage I have in that is I've been hunting up there so long that I know all the areas. I'm very familiar with what the guides know and where they're going and where they want to put us. So it's a hunt I really particularly like to do. So they do offer a semi-guided where it's your own trucks, your own tools. You skin your own pig. You clean your own pig. You're basically on your own.
They're basically just giving you access to the facility,
exactly.
Right?
The guy that's there is there to make sure that you abide by the rules, and that's about it. And
point the way.
And once in a while they'll help you out, and they're there to help point, like Grant said, lead the way or help out where they can help out. The fully guided hunts, you go up there. You're in their trucks. They put you on pigs. They're there to point you in the direction that they feel you need to be, and they're up there all the time. So the guided hunt's a little more expensive, but again, you got a guide directing you every which direction, every which move you make, and I've been hunting long enough to where those semi-guided are a little more. You get a little more elbow room. You go out there and do your own thing, which I definitely prefer.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I know my personal experience. I don't have 90% of my hunts have always been just go get it, right? You know, I mean, there's some spots I'm lucky enough to hunt where I hunt with locals when I'm in Florida or Texas, Montana, but it's still the wilderness. You know, you're still looking for these fuckers. Yeah. You don't know what you're gonna find. You don't know. You know, the majority of the hunts, you come back empty-handed, especially with a bow. You know, but there's still a lot to be said for the experience. There's no doubt about that. And then I was reading the information online after we got done with the hunt, and I saw that they don't even they call it semi-guided. Like Steve, he's the guide out there, and he knows his shit. He's no joke. But he was actually called a hunt steward. He's just, like you said, to make sure you follow the rules. He's not supposed to tell you shit otherwise, really. So, and he was actually much more helpful than that. So, yeah.
They're there to kind of make sure you're going by the rules. We've known Steve a long time. I've known Steve since I was a kid. He was a kid, and he comes out there, points us in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a cool place to grow up, right? And get that experience. Shit, man.
Yep.
Right?
Awesome. Absolutely.
So tell me about your experience with this place so far. You've been out there a couple times now.
2 times now. The first year, we really never got on a pig to even we got into some, but never really had a shot. And that was bow only.
Okay.
This time we did take a backup rifle just to kind of get to our spot and location. And one day we were able to, when we came back down, we were thinking that we might take a shot if we had it, you know, but we never did see anything. But didn't really get a shot off the first year. This year, it was awesome. We had the first night, Carl and I went out and you know, Carl appreciates this more than I do. I mean, as far as the stalking part of it, for me, it was like having a guide, you know, because I mean, honestly, I've watched a lot on TV and man, it was just as technical as anything I ever seen on TV. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I mean, we came in on we set up on a couple cows that had a pig in the mix. It was right there, and the cows tend to like to use the cows as alarm systems.
Yeah, which I didn't know. That was interesting.
So they'll get in there with the cows and start feeding, and the cows spooked, and they know something's going on. So it's kind of a defense system for them. So what we did is we came in. We obviously flushed the pig, but we stayed in the area, let the cow settle down, and letting the cow settle back down and start feeding. The pig came back out, and the reward with that is there was a whole group of pigs in that area. So what we did at that point is the pig came out, started feeding. We set ourselves up as close as we could to the pigs without spooking them. We did have one pig that came across the valley, came up over the ravine, looked at us, spooked us, and was within 20, 30 yards. We couldn't get a shot. We had bows, so we let him go and let him go his path without spooking him. And then we set up on these couple pigs that were feeding. We took our time. We made sure we knew which way the direction they were feeding. We watched our wind. We came in on those pigs. We were on our bellies. Came up within 30 yards of those pigs. We sat. We waited for maybe 5-10 minutes. Assessed where they were feeding towards, what was going on as far as wind, where all the pigs were, and at that point we decided it was a good time to take a shot. And that's where Grant pulled back. We ranged the pigs at about 30. They were at almost exactly 30 yards, and Grant pulled back and shot, and the shot was.
Is that the one that deflected?
It wasn't even fucking close.
Was it? Did it deflect or?
Well, he shot.
No.
It was a log pig. So if it was a log and it was a pig, it would have been dead as shit.
Okay,
so I'm looking. So I'm looking through the rangefinder, and I pull down, and as I'm looking where the arrow's supposed to go, it hits a log within 10 yards of where we're at.
Yeah.
And given the stock was perfect. The pullback, making sure the pigs didn't see him. I mean, everything up to the drawback and the shot was textbook.
Spot on. Yeah.
But what we think happened was Grant's arrow had fallen out of the rest.
Oh shit!
Well, the rest wasn't up.
Oh okay.
You know.
So something.
So you had a mechanical failure more than likely, huh?
So the rest lifting.
Because I didn't pull it. I know I put it on it.
But that's again when you're hunting pigs and you're at 200, 300 yards is a big difference than being 20, 30 yards.
Well, yeah, let's explain that for people who, the guys who listen to this stuff, a lot of them are hunters, but a lot of people aren't. And they also don't understand the different aspects of hunting because, I mean, straightforward. And I actually said this to one of the guys, Gary, awesome dude from South Africa, super cool. But he started getting cocky about how he had a pig and no one else did. And I was like, well, if we went out there with rifles, I could stack bodies all day long. But when I'm trying to get right up in this guy's face and look him in the eye when I shoot him, that's a whole other deal, right?
Grant and I look at each other all the time and say that, hey, if we had a rifle, we'd already been on our way home. I mean, it's a whole different type of hunting with a bow.
And not discounting rifle hunting or anything like that.
Absolutely not. Not at all. You're taking shots, and we got rifle guys that come up with us, and they're hunting.
Yeah, nothing wants to die.
We're all
nothing's gonna walk out there and go, "Hey, give it to me."
We're all happy when someone takes harvests and they're taking something home they can harvest for their family and make some, and whether it's sausage, whatever they're doing. It's just we're always pumped up when someone does it, but rifle or bow. But there is a definite difference in the hunting styles.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to fast forward too much, but 9 guys, we had 2 guys come home with pigs, and they were both the rifle guys.
Correct.
Right. And nothing wrong with that.
And we had some good hunters out there too.
And we had an amazing time. I mean, shit,
And that's the thing about going up at Tejon. It's not always. I mean, for me at this point, it's great to go up there and chase the pigs around. But having my buddies up there and friends and just everyone's flinging arrows, everyone's getting on pigs. That's what it's about. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yeah, it was. I don't want to jump too forward, but it was pretty crazy how it's either feast or famine with those fucking pigs. You don't see anything, or you see 500 of them in 1 week. You're like, what am I gonna do with this, right?
That was our hunt.
Son of a bitch.
Our next hunt, I took, Grant and I were on those pigs that night. We went back to the next spot. We didn't spook them. We made sure that they kind of just creeped back into the area where they came from, and we backed off. And you and I and Grant were there the next night, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So you never know. So. At that point, hey, and Billy's like, hey, I saw pigs in this area last night. Let's start heading that way. And that was, that's what we decided to do. So we slowly started working our way that way. And daylight wasn't on our side. We were definitely looking at a lot of, between getting there to get a shot and still having daylight was definitely against us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we were fortunate halfway there. We were about midway through the hunting area, the Monty Fields, and we came up on pigs. I think we all saw them at the same time. I looked around to tell you guys, hey, pigs, and you guys were pointing at pigs. And
yeah.
We knew they were there, and that's where all the fun started with the second stock.
Oh, yeah, that was great, man. That was good. Sadly, Carl, the guy who puts this whole thing together, doesn't have a lot of stories to tell from this because he basically played tour guide the whole fucking time for the most part. Which that's kind of what you do with this deal, right? You bring 9 people out. I know how it is when I bring people out to play paintball or ride motorcycles or go fishing.
Make sure everyone's having a good time.
Yeah, right. You want to you're teaching, you're mentoring, and you're showing. And that's a cool thing. That's awesome. But. This particular stock he's talking about, it was our last night. We still had a morning left if we needed it, or we're going to do it.
But this is do or die. This is like Saturday night. You got a short. They will let you do a short hunt in the morning till maybe 10 o'clock if you're lucky. And so Saturday night's the night where it's do or die. Here, let's get a pig.
Yeah, and just to give you a clue in, so the pigs we did see that Saturday night. The Friday night, I went out with Steve while everybody else went out in teams. Steve was our guide or our steward, but he, the guy knows the place like the back of his hand. He put me on pigs quick. Had a shot, but there were so many pigs. He's like, shoot that pig. I'm like, which one? First of all, which one? Because he did put a caveat on us once we got there, which I've never dealt with before, where we only were allowed to shoot males.
Correct.
And
and that's usually not the norm up there. So that was kind of not only we got bows and we're hunting these pigs, but now you can only shoot a boar.
And pigs don't have antlers, so it makes it really hard to tell what the fuck you're shooting at, right? And you want to, if that's what they want, I want a positive ID, obviously. And I'm not making excuses, the shot's hard enough and everything. But so he put me on that pig within, no shit, probably an hour of being there, hour and a half of being there, 35-yard shot, and I got tangled in twigs right in front of me, pulled my bow off my nock, or pulled my arrow off my nock on my bow, and they heard it, scattered. We chased them fuckers. I couldn't get within like 70, 80 yards, which is obviously way too far. Yeah. Super frustrating. So then he pulled me back over to where you guys were over in the Monty Fields, and we were down a ways from that, which was really just some low chaparral brush. Yeah. It was maybe 3-4 feet tall, and it was thick with pigs. I mean, super thick with pigs. And like, I'm going to do a video on this later because I had the camera on my bow. And I know shit. We're just tiptoeing through the chaparral. It's probably about 60 yards deep, and then it's just, you know, feeding fields on both sides of it with a little bit of a creek through the middle of it. And I know shit, have a pig in my sights 15 feet fucking in front of me, maybe 20, right? And wait till you see the video. But it's just like, son of a bitch. And I'm just sitting there waiting, because if I wasn't with Steve, I probably wouldn't have taken the time to see what was between its legs, you know. But yeah, he was there, so I'm like, can I go? Can I go? Can I go? And we didn't get a decision fast enough. It spooked, and it spooked all the rest of them. They all went running out into the field, and it didn't take 30 seconds. They were 300 yards away from us. You know, that's how fast these things are.
They move quick.
And
they move. They don't
stop.
And they pick up on a spook really quick. You know, if one spooked, all the rest of them are like, peace, let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Just takes that, and they're out of there.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. That was, you know, it was a really cool experience to be staring them down like that. But so that leads into that Saturday night, the following night, because I never have any luck in morning hunts. I you know, out of all my hunts, I've got maybe 3 or 4 kills on morning hunts. That's just the way it works for me.
Pigs in the mornings, just to clarify, those pigs in the morning are usually going into bed down. So in the morning hunts, you're usually catching them when they're going down to bed, which is a really hard hunt with a bow.
Well, yeah, in our state where we're not even allowed to start shooting at them until it's daylight, right? You know, so yes. You know.
And then if they're coming out in the evenings, they're coming out to feed. So the ideal stock is when those pigs are down, their heads are down, their ears are up, their noses are down, and they're feeding.
Yeah.
Because then all you're contending with is at that point is their hearing, because their ears are up like radars, and they're listening. So, and they don't hear that well. So you know, if you got that going for you, you can definitely get up pretty darn close on them.
Yeah, which is very cool. It's very cool to, like, you know, I went running into that nest, and I've been in the situation in Florida, especially with the palmettos, where like they'll be all the way around you, and I mean, like, walking right by you, and you're just like, they have no idea I'm here.
That's the great thing about bow hunting.
Yeah. Oh shit! The last morning when we were stalking, we were on that morning stalk, and we lost you. You went fucking native, and just were like, I think you posted up somewhere, just sitting on a spot or something.
I posted up
on
the edge of on the edge of the brush where you guys were on the south part of where you guys had been working, and at some point, one of the other hunters, it wasn't you guys, but one of the other hunters flushed, you know, maybe 10, 15 pigs out of the thicket, you know, and they come out 5 minutes early, and I'm 5 minutes prior to the hunter, and I'm watching them, and the pigs take off to, you know, a little area, hoping they bed down, and then he comes out 5 minutes later. So then, you know, he'd push those pigs out, but we were in pigs that morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'd already taken my shot, so I didn't have a bow. I was just out there kind of just looking around and helping these guys a little, and we were on this nest of bushes. I come around the corner, and there's this big fat fucking hog just sitting there staring me in the face. I'm like, well, son of a bitch, you know? And he goes booking back in, and then all of a sudden it caused a ton of commotion in that thicket that we were in. And we ended up going all the way around the other side, and I saw a bunch of them right through. I could see them right through the cracks in the thicket and everything like that. And no shit, Grant was right there, and we could hear him rustling, and he couldn't tell where they're coming out. They came out 10 feet from two huge fucking hogs. Like, we didn't know where they're going to bust out at, but I mean, they were motivated. You know, you would have had to been posted up, drawn back, knowing where it was coming from. You know,
it's tough when you start blowing them out and they start moving around. I mean, that's why when they're feeding, or you can get a stock on and they don't know you're there, is ideal. Because once they know you're there, the chances you getting a shot are really slim.
Yeah. And that was the other thing with the that was the one thing that spooked me a little with the shot the Friday night where I was with Steve, and I was waiting for him to determine sex because I was drawn down on this thing, but it was seriously so close. I was like, I've never even shot at a target this close.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, just shooting that recurve just now, I was thinking, man, that would have been the perfect time
to
have a recurve. Yeah.
Like I feel like, you know, like I've already said this over and over again, and I not to sound like a bitch or anything like that, but I grew up with a recurve, and I only transitioned to the compound in like 2011, 2012. And it's been a hard transition for me because, like, there's a lot more setup involved is the best way I can. I mean, a lot more accuracy, but Jesus, you got to, you know, it's a 20-second shot, you know.
Shot routine.
Absolutely.
It
is. There's a lot more steps involved with the with the compound over the recurve.
Delivering a lot more power and accuracy, but shit, man.
There's a lot more steps involved in making sure you're set up, you're getting a good shot. Absolutely. 100%.
And it's, you know, there's definitely, and you can only get comfortable with that if you do it in the field. You know, like you can shoot at a target all day long, but unless you're actually out doing it in the field, it's completely different. It's
overcoming that whole, you're up 20, 30 yards on an animal and keeping your composure, making sure that you're not, I mean, you already are susceptible to the equipment failure, whatever else, human failure. So having that composure at that time to make sure that you're not getting too excited, because it's really hard not to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And having that, staying calm so that you all those things come into play is huge.
That Saturday night shot got me, man. Fucking, it got me.
You went. I like to say full Neanderthal.
Oh yeah.
Halfway through that, so yeah, that was a great. Now I was, to get into that Saturday hunt, was in between Grant and Billy. Grant decided to flank outside of the creek bed, south of the creek bed, and flank out. And in doing so, I don't know if he had spooked a pig that was up in that area, but there was a boar that came down and ran down into the creek bed as Billy and I were moving up towards.
We were waiting on pigs to come across the
creek.
Where
there were the pigs that we thought were there. And in doing that, halfway through there, I look at Billy, and it was like it went full Neanderthal.
Yeah, I was locked. Yeah.
Eye of the Rocky Balboa, Eye of the Tiger, whatever you want. Shit was going down at that point. And I was far enough behind Billy to where it hit me. Like, Billy is going to shoot this pig.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, this is going down.
And I need to get up there and try to range this pig for him, because I knew Billy was not going to range this damn pig.
Again, another thing that I don't,
a step that is not usually in the recurve vocabulary.
And it's also like, even though, it is nowadays with the rifle, but like when I grew up, my dad was Marine Corps sniper. We didn't range shit. You your ranges and you shoot, but you're also shooting 100, 150, 200, 250. It actually gets tougher ranging your shit with a compound bow in a 50-yard window than it does ranging a rifle, for me anyways, ranging a rifle at 300 yards.
When you have a pig there, or you have an animal there that you're trying to stalk, and all those things are going into play, it's you definitely
there's a lot of factors.
A lot of factors that
come
into play, and you got to keep your cool. And I tried ranging this pig for Billy, and I couldn't get a range the first time. So I didn't know. I pushed the button once, couldn't get a range. I don't know if it was the bushes or if I wasn't hitting it. So I was still looking through the rangefinder as Billy told me that this pig was at 40 yards, which at that point I'm like, well, he's shooting this guy. It's just going down. This pig's getting shot, and it's at 40 yards. It's 40 yards.
Yeah.
And arrow flies, and sure shit hits the pig. The pig takes off, and
well, he settled at first. As soon as I hit him, he goes, "Burr!" and like went,
he
sat down
first,
and then just jumped up and booked. I was like, "Oh,
and
fuck!"
And then from there, all chaos broke loose. Grant comes flaring from the flanks. He comes into where we're at, and Billy runs up to the creek bed, looks down to the creek bed. I think it was something along the lines of, "Do you want to live forever?" Something along those fucking lines. Dives down into the fucking creek bed.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so it trailed down into the creek bed, and I lost eyes on it. I'm like, all right, well, it's probably just dying. And then so I kind of like trotted up to where I could see it. And when I trotted up to where I could see it, it was standing right in the water and was just like doing this kind of thing. I'm like, all right, it's gonna drop any second. And then all of a sudden, it just fucking booked all the way up the other side of the creek.
And took off.
Gone. And I'm like, oh, fucker. And I'm looking at the blood. I'm like, well, there's good blood going up to that point, but there's nothing after that. I'm like, shit, man. Fucking. So I chased,
So from there, we lost Billy.
Because we had maybe 10 minutes of light left.
So we had a wounded pig. Billy was ready to gut with his knife.
Yeah,
he had
100%.
it across his mouth. He had it across his mouth. I looked at Grant, and at some point we started trying to track where the first blood I saw.
But before he did that, there are 6 pigs right here.
They were in there. I was gonna leave that part out, but he pointed out the pigs that were in the creek bed, which was already ballsy enough because there were probably about 6-10 pigs in there.
Mm-hmm.
Billy dove down in there, like I said, knife or not, he's ready to freaking kill.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Billy's, he chased his pig, looked at it, whatever the blood and whatnot. I waited a few minutes and told Grant to track Billy.
I couldn't keep up.
And then from that point on, you know, it looked like we got on blood right away, and it looked like a good shot.
It had a good ribbon.
The blood trail.
I've never had an animal move like that before after it hit.
And where I knew we were in trouble is when we followed the blood trail. It went up into some thicket, and then it got down to just little drops of blood. So it came back down to where's the arrow? Is the arrow still on the pig? And if it is, okay, we're okay. Let's keep tracking this thing. And we didn't, I think, in all the excitement and Billy dragging his knuckles, going Neanderthal, we didn't look close enough for the arrow. So Billy and I went back, gone back for the truck and some flashlights, and we got back. Billy was able to find his arrow. We looked at the arrow, and the sign on the arrow wasn't promising. I mean, it looked like it had just been, you know, rubbed in some bacon grease. It didn't look like it hit anything vital.
Very little blood.
So between the droplets of blood, you know, maybe 50 yards from where we had shot the pig, and the arrow, looking at the arrow, and the arrow being not having any signs of any vital, hitting anything vital, we came to the conclusion that the pig was probably going to be okay. Those pigs are tough. They're like little tanks. They go rub in mud. They compact their wounds in mud. They stop the bleeding. They're really fat this time of year, like Steven mentioned. So those things, the fat will block the blood right away. So long story short, at the end of the day, we had a good stock. Billy had a good shot, but the shot was either super high or super low.
I'm thinking low now after really
low because if it was high, it would have probably spined the pig.
Yeah.
Which would immobilize the pig, which didn't happen. So I'm thinking it was a low shot, and we weren't able to find it. But at the end of the day, we put a good stock on it. We tracked it thoroughly to make sure that we weren't leaving a pig out there that was wounded. It came to the conclusion that we weren't going to be able to find it, and that was the hunt. It was a great stock, and
well, you know, I curse myself by telling you the story of the fact that I've only lost one animal ever. And then I fucking go up there and lose another fucking animal.
But bow hunting, I've taken bow hunters up there, Billy, and those bow hunters, I mean, it happens. I want to say, I mean, you have to be prepared up there. You're up close on these pigs. You've got to be a good shot. So, I mean, it does happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but, you know, whether you've wounded them with a rifle or a bow, it happens. Yeah. So, I mean, in your case, I think we're fortunate that the pig wasn't wounded to the point to where it was.
You know, I feel bad that I'm the one who put the hole in them and didn't find them. But plain and simple is these things put holes in each other all the fucking time, and then they run through barbed wire.
They're tanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, these things get beat up all the fucking time, and that's what they're made for. That's why, like you're saying, they're tough as shit. You know, and it sucks. It sucks, but that's just the way it went down. Nothing wants to die.
And,
you know,
and I hate this. It just made me a great tracker. Like, I mean, as far as when we were out, I mean. It could be a blood on a blade of grass. I mean, whatever it is, I've watched these guys stalk. I see how they do it. And, I mean, Steven, as soon as you gave Steven his arrow, the first thing he did was freaking smell it. You know, smell for gut on it. And he's looking on it. And so, I mean, those guys, they know what they're doing.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, I've been up there with those guys, and I've tried to watch and learn. But those guys, they're the great white hunters. Man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a difference from being able to go hunt, you know, a handful of times a year to living in it. You know, there's a huge. It's just like, you know,
absolute difference. 100%.
We've all worked in construction. I mean, there's guys who think they can show up any day and do the same shit, right? You know what I mean? It's not going to work that way unless you're practiced and doing it every day. You know, it's just not going to happen. Sure. But all that said and done, it was still an amazing experience.
Absolutely amazing hunt. I think. You know, we'll do it again here real soon and make sure that when we go up there, we got all our T's crossed and our I's dotted and go up there. And we had some good stocks. I mean, I think the hunting side of it, I think it was just as far as getting those bows on point and getting good shots was our issue. And it was like I call a little piggy fever, you know. You get a little excited. It happens to everybody. I mean, you put anyone up on a wild boar at 20, 30 yards and here's your checklist of what you need to do. Well, you know, you might.
Well, then the next morning I went back and stepped it off and because I thought I'd shot from a spot, and I'm like, this was 40 yards. I thought I was dead on.
Yeah.
I went back and watched the video. I took the shot from about 45, 46 yards.
And that with a compound bow.
And that's right
you've got a pin at 20 usually, a 30, 40, 50, 60.
Yep.
So when you range find that animal with a compound bow, it gives you an idea. It's at 43. It gives you can compensate with that point on your arrow, on your bow with your sight. Okay, I've got a 20, 30, 40. He's at 43. I'm going to aim a little bit low. He's, or high, depending on where he's at. But it gives you that accuracy that you absolutely need with a compound. Different than a recurve. Recurve, hey, it's Tom Brady style.
It's all feel. Yeah,
it's all feel. There he's running across. Boom, you shoot.
And that's what I'm used to. It's been really hard trying to make it into a technical thing. Like perfect example is I shoot distance with a bunch of buddies for rifle, and these guys. They got all these little windmill things and fucking rangefinders and shit like that. I do it all by feel, and they're like, I wish I had that, that I have that with. I thought I had it with the compound bow, but it's just not developed. It hasn't developed.
The compound isn't, like Steven said that night when we were there, he shoots his recurve. He's shot plenty of animals with his recurve. Steven being the guy that was up there, that was our steward up there, and recurve, he leaves his rangefinder at home.
Yeah,
but when he's shooting his recurve or when he's shooting his compound, it's crucial.
Yeah, I've been shopping rangefinders for the first time in my life, except for golf. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. It is, and the good thing is they are starting to make rangefinders on the bows. But now you're looking at it's the same. There's almost as much setup with a compound as there is with a rifle, which is accuracy and setting yourself up and what you need to do to make sure that your bow is tuned to shoot correctly for a compound is comparable to a rifle. There's a lot that goes into it. So,
it's called hunting, not killing.
That's right.
Right?
We've had we've had a lot of good hunts up there and sometimes not a lot of killing, but it's always been a good time.
Yeah. And Carl knows the place like the back of his hand. He's like, oh yeah, they shot movies over here. Oh yeah, this is the cabin, old moonshine cabin. And it's pretty badass to go up there and see and everything. The morning hunt on Saturday, he took us up in the deep back cut, and they hadn't seen any pigs up that way in a while, but no one had actually been up there, so he took us back there, and it was all fucking cows. Hopefully I still have the video, because I seriously had a chorus line of cows walking 10 feet behind me the whole time I'm on this stock, and I could hear turkey over here, which I just wanted video of, because I could hear the fucking turkey, but I know I'm not going to get anywhere near him with all these fucking cows on my ass, right? And then I found one semi-fresh pig track up in there. Never saw anything. Lots and lots of cows. Caused a stampede for the first time in my life. That was kind of cool.
There
go.
you
I'm walking through this wallow, and it opens up to real shallow water, heavy cover under like foliage and canopy and shit. And I'm walking, and then like a whole herd of cattle come around, and I'm just walking through this thing, and just the first, it's kind of funny how cows work, because like the first one sees me, he spooks, and all the rest of them take, and then I just hear trees getting knocked down for like 300 yards running that way. I'm like, wow. But I did get not too far after that, I found a spot that looked like a trailhead, and I could see two different directions. I sat down, I just marinated there for like 20 minutes, and I didn't give a shit. I didn't see anything. It just was awesome. The scenery, the vibe, the smells. I sat there, drank some water, had a little Cliff Bar. It was awesome. Yeah.
Steven did say that the pig count was down, so I think in the next year or two we're going to have some good pigs up there.
Well, we definitely didn't.
We saw a lot of pigs.
Yeah, we didn't not see them, right. That's for sure. It just, execution's huge with bow. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And again, they've got us on board, so they are concerned about their pig count.
Yeah.
And I've hunted up that canyon a lot, and that was the most sparse. Not just seeing the pigs, but just no sign, no pig, no sign of pigs up there was really concerning. But like Billy was saying, it's God's country up there. There's a lot of history up there, a lot of old cabins that have been up there since the early 1900s, late 1800s. So a lot of history. It's really nice to go up there and just stomp around. And you don't get, it's over 300,000 acres of it's the largest piece of property owned in California, the single most it's the largest piece of property owned in California, and at over 300,000 plus acres, and there's just not a lot of human contact. So you get up in those areas, and you don't get a lot of stomping around from hikers, and I mean, almost zero. It's all hunters that have gone through Tejon. So there's a lot of history up there, a lot of untouched, pristine land, and it's really cool.
And for me, I mean, I'm no tree hugger, but I could have had no bow and just gone on the hikes and had a great weekend, dude. Because I saw, I mean, I don't know how many turkey we saw. We saw white owl. We saw.
Oh yeah, the owls. You saw the bobcat. That was a great spot, dude. Awesome. I couldn't believe that. And that you were right in the fucking nest that I'd blown 30, 40 pigs out of the night before. It was so, you know, madman running in after looking for the bleeding one. Yeah.
Just getting out of work and getting up there. It's just that's all. I mean, for me, it was worth every.
I sent him a text yesterday. I'm like, you know, I feel more like that's a natural environment than where we're sitting right here, right now. You know, like coming back and going back to work and doing my shit. I'm like, no, man, I feel way more at home. There. You know, and I mean, that place is magical. Don't get me wrong. But like, you know, I've experienced the same thing in Montana and Arizona, just different places. You know, like Northern California, I have some places I've gone up with some buddies and hunted pigs up there and Salinas and shit like that. And I don't know, it's not for everybody, but I just feel more at home when I'm out in the shit. That's just me. You know,
it draws you to you. You go up there and you come home and get back to the real life and just kind of wants to draw you back up there.
Yeah, I don't want to turn that fucking TV on. I don't want to turn that fucking computer.
Answer that damn phone. Whatever it may be. Shit. No, it is. You get up there and it's just it's a whole nother world. It's great. I mean, and it is. I mean, between the elk up there, the turkey, the deer,
bear track,
the bear.
Oh yeah, you guys saw the bear tracks too, right? Yeah.
Bear track was cool.
Up there.
Yeah, they saw some big baby paw prints. That's for sure.
You know, running around, looking at trail cams with the guides up there in our spare time. There's a lot of wildlife up there that avoid you. That's there. That you just don't know that's there. I mean, you're looking at
the mountain lion that came right by the cabin.
Oh yeah, right.
Mountain lion coming right by the cabin the night we were there. I mean,
that was funny for us to come back and hear the stories. You know, like they had a cook who came and cooked for us, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm just sitting here at 6:30, and I saw a big old cat run right by." And then we find out, I think it was Jamie who mentioned it to me at least, that there was basically a piglet nursery right out back behind our hunting house, you know, the place we were staying, and no wonder that mountain lion's running back.
Yeah, right there. He's got that area right behind the cabin is it's a good little hunting area. It's small, but if there's pigs in there, it's worth hunting.
Well, and that's pretty crazy that the mountain lion's that far down into, you know, it's got got all that shit to go hide and hunt and everything like that, and it's right down there with the people. You know, I mean, because there was probably 30, 40 campers right there too, right? You know, between tents and RVs and shit. You know,
running right through there, and then you got the Monty Fields where we hunt. You know, less than a mile away from there. So it's
badass right there, man. That's such a sweet spot. So, Jesus, man, you could sit there all day long, no problem. You know, in that section of acreage. So Grant, take us back to drawing down. That was your first opportunity to draw down and actually put something in your sights, right?
Yep.
Let us know what was going through your head. I want to hear it.
You know, I mean, I would have thought that I'd be like the adrenaline would have been overwhelming. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've shot things before, so you know, it's not as if I'm a total rookie. But as far as with this whole thing, honestly, I think I didn't have enough experience with my pre-shot routine, and I think if I kind of would have just took my time and made sure that I went through everything. Because when I lined up on it and I let it go, it felt like any other time I was shooting a target. You know, I don't think I didn't yank it, but and the whole time I was thinking, what the hell did I do? You know, I just couldn't pinpoint anything. You know, and then it just came to me once I got home and I was putting all my shit away and I cleaned the bow up a little bit and everything, and I looked at that thing and that's it. And I thought to myself, God damn it, I bet you anything, because it's happened before that I didn't put that rest up. You know, because it's a rest that just kind of flicks up and everything.
Is it a ripcord or?
It should come up when you pull back,
and then automatically drops.
Either the arrow didn't come up or the arrow wasn't in the rest.
No, I have to physically flick it up with my finger.
Do you?
Yeah. So it goes down, but I have to flick it up with my finger.
Is that a new rest?
No.
That's not functioning correctly.
It's not functioning correctly. No. It should come up. It should come up when you pull.
Is there a string on it that goes back to your bowstring? There should be a string on it that goes back to your bowstring that's part of the timing.
We'll
have to take a look at it.
Pull the arrow up, and so when it drops, the arrow shoots.
I've had it before. So
if that's down, and that makes sense because you shot when I was looking at the pig. I mean, the arrow went right down. Something malfunctioned. It wasn't air in the shot. It was a malfunction.
Grant does a ton of baseball coaching, so he's going to go over this thing over and over in his fucking head. You know, I know how that goes, right?
And the bummer thing about it was the freaking pig was an eater, meaning it was like only a couple of years old.
Yeah.
And it was bitchin' looking. It was like multicolored, white and brown, and it was.
I'm usually a sucker for those.
Well, that's why I freaked out on the one I drew down on. I'm like, that's a feral hog, not a Euro. That's gonna be tasty, motherfucker, right there.
That was a nice size pig.
Gray spotted, you know. Fucking,
that was a good. That pig would have been a good.
I got so fucking excited. There's no doubt about that, you know. And like when I let fly, I knew I had I was off, but I didn't feel like I had a miss. I knew the shot felt like I went high. I know I went low now after revisiting everything like that, but it felt off, you know. And I've shot my bow enough, you know. I've been married to this thing for 8 years now, and I've been shooting it, and I could tell that it wasn't a perfect shot, but I still thought I had a kill, you know. That if that makes sense.
Well,
you know?
right out the chute, looking at where I was right there based on the reaction of the pig, blood. I mean, that was my first reaction. It wasn't until the blood started. On
the other side of that first pile of chaparral,
really
right?
Thin, and then it was like, let's look for the arrow. And then when we found the arrow, it was like, okay, this isn't. We're probably not going to find this pig.
Yeah, in hindsight, there's other things I could have done different. Like I should have been set up for my second shot when I had him in the creek too. Like I thought I was walking up to see a dead pig.
Well, the key on that, for Billy is when you make that shot, just to stay put. Just boom, you make your shot, you stay there, you wait, you watch the pig. The pig might go 20, 30 yards and hunker down as it was trying to do.
It may go 500 yards, but you're not going to catch it.
Wait, let the pig run, let it do what it's going to do, and then you wait, and then at that point, then you go in and you start tracking the blood trail, and hopefully by that time the pig is laid down and is expired. But in your situation, I don't think no matter what we did.
Yeah, we weren't finding that motherfucker.
That pig wasn't going to stop. It just wasn't hit well enough.
Yeah.
And it was finding that arrow to look at that and see, hey, this pig's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think I grazed his chest or grazed his belly. You know,
100%.
for sure.
I've seen that type of arrow a lot of times, and that's just not a pig we usually find.
That's hunting, right?
It's hunting and not killing.
Yeah.
But for me, the stock on the one that we had, I mean, that I learned more about that than anything else the whole weekend, and to know that, I mean, we set up probably 5 different places, you know, and just kept moving, you know, slowly and quietly and on our knees and having to crawl.
Just looking at the signs and setting up ambush points, right?
The key to pig hunting isn't hiking. I mean, if you're there and you start walking and there's no pigs here, let's go to this area. You know, I mean, unless that area is littered with pigs, you're gonna have a hard time. You got to be patient. Sit down. Find the area where you think the pigs are going to come out.
Look for the intersections.
And just wait. Listen and wait. And they make noise. I mean, they're loud. I mean, they're usually in packs. So listen to them for nipping each other or whatever it may be. See if they're in there. And we were fortunate enough. We waited and when they're feeding, that's the best stock you can put on them. When their heads are down and they're feeding, that's time to take deep breaths, keep your cool, get up as close as you can, check all your stuff. You got all the time in the world. They're not going nowhere.
No, that was, you know, to go back to that shot that I took on that animal, you know, like I said, I had those 2 opportunities that led up. One I fouled, and then the other one was just, you know, weird circumstance. So by the time we got to that spot where I had that pig in the sights, I easily could have gotten another 15 yards closer. Never would have known I was there.
And we could have stayed. No problem. We could, even if we would have stayed put where we were, that pig was feeding and he wasn't going to go far. So we could have assessed that pig, looked at it. We had all the time in the world. I mean, the fact that you had a feeding pig, that's not a stock you usually get. So at that point, you know, the shot was rushed, but
well, that was so something I teach guys all the time with other circumstances is don't allow yourself to apply pressure to yourself. Like, you could have a gun to your head and have someone tell you that if you don't do this, you're going to die, right? Well, that's still up to you if you're going to feel pressure on that situation or not. You can still choose to feel pressure in that situation or not, the stress. And usually I'm super good about that, right? I allowed myself to feel the stress of this is our last evening hunt. I never kill shit in the morning. I've already had 2 opportunities. This is the last shot I'm going to get at this fucking shit. And I don't want to be the guy to come up here and not come home with my fucking pig, or take an animal, like fucking, and that's, I allowed myself to weigh all that shit right there while I'm looking through the sights, where all I should have been thinking about is fucking looking through those sights and making my shot, and then, other ancillary bullshit like my knees bugging me and I was in a crouched position trying to shoot like fucking Tonto, and I should have just stood up into my shot. If I would have stood up into my shot, I would have had a better shot, guaranteed, but instead,
absolutely,
fucking hindsight's 20/20, and we live and learn through all these experiences, right? And
it was a great stock. It was all around. Both those stocks were incredible. We got up on pigs, which isn't easy to do. I don't care if you're up there. I mean, there's people that walk around up there all weekend and don't see pigs.
Yeah.
And we were able to get in pigs. We were able to get 2 really good stocks, and it was a blast.
Dude,
man.
Oh,
we learned a lot, and it was awesome seeing you freaking chase that pig like.
Go savage!
Go savage!
I can't.
The savage part was the best part of the whole thing, man.
That's who I am, though, dude.
That was badass.
Yeah, that's who I am. Dude.
That was badass.
I will come back wearing that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's who I am, dude.
But the heart really goes into it is awesome, dude. I mean, not a lot of guys, they go home, okay, well, we're done, and the fact that you've obviously thought about that a lot. You've been home and been shooting.
Oh, I beat the shit out of myself over everything.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I've seen that.
More than anything, where can you go to listen to 2 guys snore? Is good.
Oh, dear Jesus, right?
That's another thing. You got a hunting
sleep. I want to. Yeah, let's throw sleep deprivation into this motherfucker. All right.
You got to throw that into the mix, man. I don't care what size earplugs, whatever you're using, man. It don't matter. You're up there with a bunch of dudes, and they've been hunting, and they've had a couple sippers, and they've been hanging out. Dude, the snoring is no joke.
So we got bunkhouse that's got 5 guys in it, right? 2 of them are just fucking chainsaws. I leave, go sleep on the couch. It's so bad. I come back in at 3:00 in the morning, get my earplugs,
and you're on the other side of the house.
On the other side of the fucking house.
This isn't a little cabin. This is a house, and they're on the other side of the house.
Easily a 2,000 square foot pad, right? Fucking right.
Well, my whole chest was vibrating the whole night.
I don't know how you stayed in there, man.
I almost came and snuggled up with you, man. It was close.
It was
close, dude.
Great group of guys. It was awesome, man. Super good catch. I was very happy to meet everybody, and it was super fun, man. And that, a lot of people will complain that, and comparatively speaking, yes, like if you're in Florida or, that's just one I can draw from, but Florida, Texas, heavy pig states.
Yeah.
You go shoot pigs for free, right?
Yeah. They're a nuisance.
Yeah. But, it's California. You pay for everything.
You're gonna
but
pigs.
To be able to, to have access to pig, elk, deer, turkey in one location, an hour and a half north of LA, 2 hours north of LA, right?
It's a special place.
Fuck, dude. I mean, you can't, you could badmouth the place all you want, and they take really good care of it, and they got guys who really know their shit. Yep. Those are huge factors. Like, I know I've done a ton of pig hunts in like Texas and shit, and it's pretty much you have access to property, peace, and not knowing where you're going. That's kind of why they do the guided hunt, like at these places, because unless you know the lay of the land, like Carl said, you can walk around all day long and never find shit because you don't know where they're going to be.
Exactly.
Well, typically, any hunter is going to tell you that he scouts that place out a month in advance, right?
Yeah.
So you know where they're going to be when the hunt starts.
Yeah, I have, same, go up in the Cuyamacas chasing fucking turkey up here and deer, and I have my spots where I know I can go look and where I can, I can scout and look for my signs, and I can go back, but that's in our backyard.
2 days.
Yeah. You can't. You're not going to get that done that quick. And we had a huge advantage having you, who's been going there since you were a kid.
And that's why I do those semi-guided, because I know the areas going up there, and it point us in the directions you think the pigs are, and I know those areas, so we've got a pretty good idea of where we're going. So
and like I said,
really well.
Animal or no animal, harvest or no harvest, still a fantastic experience. They do provide a great service there, and just the amenities throughout is legit. The place is awesome. You can't bad. There's nothing bad about it, especially like I said, location, just like anything else.
You got untouched, pristine land, and You got Juanita making dinners for you.
Enchiladas.
Yeah, oh
Enchiladas.
god, that oven barbecue chicken the first night.
That's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's another good thing about the semi-guided. It still includes the meals and all the snacks and access to the fridge, and they keep everything pretty loaded up. So
Yeah.
you still get to eat well and
Just don't drink a beer, dude.
No, yeah, right. Yeah. For anybody who is going to be looking into it, so you're not allowed to drink in between your hunts. You go out in the morning hunt, you go out in the afternoon hunt. You cannot drink until you're back after your afternoon hunt.
That's right.
So
that's all.
And they're boars only if you're hunting pig.
For now.
For now. Yeah.
now.
And I've never seen that. I've been in a lot of heavy pig infested areas. I've never seen that many piglets before in my life.
They definitely watch.
Next couple of years are gonna be good.
Yeah.
Their pig count, but that's something to ask if you go up there. Hey, what's the setup? Or is this a boar only? If they're watching their pig count, they might tell you, yeah, it's boar only. But that's rare. Usually, it's a free for all as long as they don't have piglets with them.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a sow, she doesn't have piglets. She's
Yeah, fair game.
And you're looking for
A meat pig.
meat pig. She's the one. But right now they're pretty strict on that. So always check when you're going up there. Is it boar only? Because if it's boar only, then obviously in your shooting bows, it's just a whole nother obstacle to work around.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just makes that.
It's already hard enough up there
Right.
shooting. Getting up on them. Let alone, hey, how far down the nuts hanging? Does it have nuts or not?
Yeah. Turn around. Let me.
Yeah, turn around so I can see whether
Cough.
So whatever but that so it's something to check. But other than that, great hunt up there. Always a good time. Guides are great, and
Thanks for putting on, Carl. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. No,
Of course.
thank you. It was awesome, man.
Absolutely.
I have something for both of you guys for letting me participate. This is an MDP challenge coin.
Sweet, man.
And then we have these, what are called the pirating patches that we're allowed to give out to anybody. And it's a small token. Just basically it says you're getting out and living life. That's what it is.
Sweet,
And it's a big deal for us. It's not, it's a very small, just a patch, a swatch of cloth, but it's
Cool.
it's kind of a big deal to our pirates. So
Really appreciate it.
No,
Thank
no,
you very much.
Is it iron on?
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. I went and bought a blank cap and ironed that shit on.
right.
So yeah.
Sweet.
No, but it was awesome, guys.
Sounds like you got a good thing going. That's pretty cool, dude.
Oh, the MDP?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, our pirates are fucking awesome, dude. Fucking, I mean, it was very organic in its origins, and we're still keeping that way. It's all very grassroots, and we got a lot of people who have a lot of passion for life and for each other, and we're just out to help each other out and have a good time and do this kind of shit, and we do it.
Anyone want to come up, ever go up to Tejon and fling some arrows, they know where to come.
Doc Rob, he's one of our guys out in Yuma, and he actually says we can flip it both ways. We come out there to hunt, and then he'll come out here and hunt. So
that South African guy talking shit, tell him to come.
Oh,
out
right, Troy. Troy's a bird blaster like a motherfucker.
So he likes the winged rats.
Oh yeah,
bring him out and show him how to
he's a
really
bird.
do it.
He's a bird
Bring
blaster
him
like a
on out.
motherfucker. Yeah,
Bring him on out.
Yeah, I want him to come out, man. I want him to come out here and hunt with us. But yeah, he can get it done.
It sounds like it.
But he lives in South Africa. Come on, man.
Can't go wrong in South Africa.
He's got wombats and wildebeest right in his fucking front yard and shit.
Already, yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up. We're gonna go eat some chili. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
This has been fun. We'll do it again. We'll find something else to shoot the shit about and have you guys back over and just hang out. People love this stuff, and I love it. I like sharing experiences because that's how people learn.
Yeah,
So.
I love it, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, live a little.
Sweet.
Awesome. Good work, guys.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, Billy.
No problem.
Good times.